What's going on, guys? Back with another video. Team So Wealthy. You already know what's going on. They say the sky's the limit, but there ain't no limit for us. You feel me? And I told you I'm double upload for the day. Feel what I'm saying? And like, share, comment, subscribe. You feel me? Turn on post notification bell to get notified every time I drop a video. You feel me? And I'm dropping back to back. You feel me? Every day upload. The day I double upload for y'all. You feel me? Show some love. You feel me? And boom. In this video right here, I'm gonna do another reaction. I'm gonna be talking about like the twin billionaires, the twin Bitcoin billionaires or whatever. Like, they came up off Bitcoin. It's a lot in the story or whatever, but we're gonna get into that right now. Let's go.
And redemption, a tale of obscene wealth and power. This is the truth about the Bitcoin billionaires. By now, the origins of Facebook are pretty well documented. Mark Zuckerberg meets with Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss about being the developer for their new social network idea. Mark agrees to help them build their website, but ends up stringing them along for months whilst he secretly starts working on his own social network. When the twins realize what's happened, they sue Zuckerberg for stealing their idea. Years later, the hugely successful Hollywood movie about Facebook's origin would be set around this legal battle. But have you ever wondered what happened next? Well, eventually the Winklevoss twins, or the Winklevi as they're often known, were offered a $65 million settlement by Facebook. Their lawyers urged them to take it. However, whilst it was a vast amount of money, the Winklevoss twins said they wanted payment in Facebook stock instead. Their lawyers couldn't believe it, and tried to convince them to take the cash and run. However, for the Winklevi, this wasn't so much about the money. They were from a wealthy family already. Facebook was a multi-billion-dollar company by this point, and they knew it had even more growth to come, so they at least wanted a piece of it. That decision to get paid in stock instead of cash turned out to be a very good move. When Facebook had its IPO, the Winklevi's shares became worth $500 million. But there was one problem. Going up against Zuckerberg so publicly like this had ruined their reputation. They were now regarded as a bit of a joke in the media, and in the Facebook movie, they came across as pretty spoiled and entitled. Zuckerberg seemed like the genius who'd actually made Facebook, whilst many felt they were just dumb jocks trying to cash in off his work. As Zuckerberg himself put it, "You weren't the first people to have an idea for a social network, and neither was I. Friendster and MySpace existed before Facebook, and the last time I checked, Tom from MySpace isn't suing me." And it's pretty true. Ideas are cheap, execution is everything. So basically, after the case closed, the Winklevi had ended up with a lot of money, but most of the world viewed them as losers. Now, ask yourself, what would you do with $500 million? Go travel the world? Buy some expensive sports cars or mansions? Well, the Winklevoss twins had a completely different plan. They wanted to use that money to invest in other companies. They wanted to prove they weren't just dumb jocks, and instead tried to make a name for themselves and change the narrative of their story. So they went to Silicon Valley and decided to become angel investors, where they'd buy shares in startup companies they believed could be even bigger than Facebook. But something very interesting started happening. When the Winklevi found a company to invest in that they liked the look of, they'd make an offer, but their offer would always get turned down. Now sure, if this happened once or twice, it's normal the companies might have already found other investors, but over and over, companies were turning down the Winklevi's investment money. Eventually, they confronted one of the founders and asked, "We've made a really good offer. Why are you turning down our money?" As it turns out, once again, their problem was Mark Zuckerberg. You see, back then in Silicon Valley, many founders viewed their end game as selling their business to Facebook.
You can't be playing with Mark Zuckerberg, dude. Doggone, when he had that platform of having that platform of Facebook, you feel me? Everybody wanted a piece of that, you feel me? Like, so people that he probably was trying to invest into their business, being an angel investor, because me personally, I was looking into angel investors to fund my business. You feel me? So I done heard of angel investors before. You feel me? And they had got the money. They got the meals right here or whatever you need. You feel me, to be able to fund your business. You feel what I'm saying? They investing and you're going to have to cut them in or whatever. But, boom, doggone, they got the bread and people turning them down and don't want them to have no type of parts with their business just because they want to probably still link up with Facebook, you feel me? Because Facebook is a big platform, you feel me? It got everybody in the world damn near with it, you feel me? So everybody is looking at this video got a Facebook. I got a Facebook. Everybody got a Facebook. Everybody is a user of Facebook. You feel what I'm saying? So that's a big platform, and people will be wanting to be linked up with the platform, and they probably be messing with them guys. Dude ain't gonna want to mess with them. That's crazy to think about.
Facebook, or at least partnering with them in some way, and it was widely known that Mark Zuckerberg would never buy a company if the Winklevoss twins were involved. As a result, their money and presence had become toxic. People just didn't want the Winklevoss twins associated with their company. This realization was devastating, and the twins were unsure where to go from here. This was a new low, so to get away from it all, they went to Ibiza. One night in Ibiza, the Winklevoss twins were at a club trying to distract themselves. But they couldn't enjoy it. They were too busy thinking about what their next move would be. They knew they wanted to do something meaningful. They wanted to prove themselves. But how? They clearly weren't having fun in the club, so they got up to leave. But at that exact moment, someone shouted to them, "Hey, are you the Winklevi?" One of the downsides of being 6'5" twins who've just been portrayed in an Oscar-nominated movie is that it's pretty hard not to stand out. The guy introduced himself as David Azar and said he needed to tell them about something. "And what's that?" one of the twins asked. David took a dollar bill out of his pocket, and with a smile, he said, "A revolution." Standing on a beach in Ibiza, David was passionately telling the Winklevoss twins about this new technology called Bitcoin. Neither of the twins had ever heard of Bitcoin before, but then again, almost nobody had. When David approached the twins in Ibiza, it was 2012, and Bitcoin had only launched in 2009. As the twins listened to David's speech, they felt sure Bitcoin was either complete rubbish or a really big deal. They just didn't know which one. David explained, "It's digital money, an electronic cash system that's completely decentralized, so it cuts out the need for middlemen like banks or Visa and MasterCard. Plus, there'll only ever be 21 million bitcoins created, so governments can't just keep printing more whenever they want, like with cash." Given that the banks had just been bailed out by taxpayers after the 2008 market crash, it was easy to see some of the benefits of a decentralized system of money. David then explained that
and that's crazy because they only had because I know Bitcoin is it's a fixed supply, so it really can't be, and the ones that's being minded, they got to be distributed to the people that's mining. So I mean, you really not really doing too much, but and because it's a fixed amount already of 21 million Bitcoin. Then dude, the one billionaire off of Bitcoin, he had a million Bitcoin just his loan out of that supply. So it's man, he on a big percentage of the supply himself.
Bitcoin had been created by a guy called Satoshi Nakamoto, who one day posted a white paper online fully explaining this new virtual peer-to-peer currency. The whole thing was shrouded in mystery though, as soon after this, Satoshi disappeared without a trace, never to be heard from again. Plus, Satoshi claimed to be Japanese, yet wrote in perfect English, so to this day, nobody knows who Satoshi really is. Finally, David explained he was looking for investors in a company called BitInstant, which helped people buy Bitcoin in an easy way. Basically, people paid the company normal fiat cash, and BitInstant would send them Bitcoin in return for a small commission fee. And this was why David was so eager to speak to the Winklevi. He wanted them to be investors in BitInstant. Now, the founder of the company was a guy called Charlie Shrem, who was running the company from his mum's basement, so it didn't exactly fill the twins with confidence. But it was at least a nice change that someone actually wanted the twins to be involved in their company. The whole thing was a lot to process. This certainly wasn't a conversation they'd expected to have whilst partying in Ibiza, but the Winklevoss twins were intrigued by this whole concept of Bitcoin, and so they listened carefully as David passionately spoke about Bitcoin and how he felt it could change the world. You see, the twins had majored in economics at Harvard and could quickly see Bitcoin had potential not just as a currency, but as a store of value, essentially digital gold. Now, the reason gold has been used as currency for so much of history is because it's extremely durable, portable, hard to counterfeit, easy to authenticate, and it's scarce enough to be valuable, but not too rare that they'd quickly run out of it. The Winklevoss twins realized Bitcoin not only had those same properties as gold, but in many ways it was much better. Like, it could easily be divided into small fractions.
That you never be lonely. Be the fan.